The prison was silent, cold, and hidden deep inside a giant asteroid. Metal walls shook softly every few minutes, as if the rock itself was breathing. Bright blue lights glowed along the long halls, and strange shadows moved behind thick glass panels. Every prisoner feared this place. This place was known across galaxies as the Black Star Prison, a place where no one escaped and no one ever returned. But one human sat alone in a dark cell. Staring at the floor, his name was Evan Hale, a simple man from Earth who never expected to be in a war or even close to one. His capture was a mystery to him. He had no weapons, no power, no secret mission. He just woke up one day in a strange metal room, chained and confused. For months, no one told him why he was taken. No one gave him answers. He had only one thought every night. Why me? The guards outside his cell were tall aliens with thick armor, glowing marks on their skin, and cold, empty eyes. They never spoke to Evan. They never even looked at him for long. They treated him like he was something dangerous, something they feared, and Evan did not understand why. Whispers spread through the prison. Prisoners talked at night through vents and pipes. "Humans are not normal," one voice said. "He is the key," another voice whispered. "No human should be here," a third voice said. Evan heard all these things, but none of them made sense. He just sat in the corner of his cell, wondering if he would ever see Earth again. Then, one day, everything changed. A new guard arrived. She walked slowly down the hall, her footsteps soft compared to the heavy steps of other guards. She was different, not just in her movement, but in her presence. She was young, gentle-looking, and strangely beautiful for an alien. Her skin had soft silver lines that glowed like moonlight. Her eyes were bright blue, shining with emotion. Her face was calm, almost sad. Her name was Soraya. When Soraya stopped in front of Evan's cell for the first time, he looked up, surprised. She did not shout at him. She did not order him to sit straight. She simply stood there, looking at him like she was seeing something important. Evan felt uneasy. No guard had ever looked at him like that. Soraya spoke softly, her voice smooth like a calm river. "You are the human," she said. Evan nodded slowly. "Yes. My name is Evan." She held his gaze for a long moment, studying him carefully. Her expression was strange, part worry, part curiosity, part fear. Before she could say anything more, another guard walked by and snapped at her. "Do not waste time with the human. He is dangerous." Soraya did not argue. She simply nodded and stepped back. But her eyes did not leave Evan's face until she disappeared around the corner. Evan felt something he had not felt in months. Someone had noticed him. That night, the prison shook with loud alarms. Bright red lights flashed across the halls. Guards ran everywhere. Metal doors slammed shut. A deep voice shouted through speakers, "Alert! Unknown ship detected. All units prepare." Evan stood in his cell, heart racing. He grabbed the bars and listened to the chaos. Then he heard soft, fast footsteps coming toward him, the same soft footsteps from earlier. Soraya rushed to his cell, breathing hard. She looked afraid, but also brave in some strange way. "Evan," she whispered, gripping the bars tightly, "you are not safe. Not anymore." Evan stared at her, confused. "What do you mean? Why?" Soraya hesitated, like she was fighting with her own thoughts. Then she leaned closer and said the words that froze him completely. "Someone is coming for you," she whispered. "And they want you dead." The alarms grew louder. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hall behind her. A huge shadow approached. Soraya's eyes widened. "I cannot protect you if they reach here," she said quickly. "Remember this, you are not here by accident." Evan grabbed the bars. "Soraya, tell me what is going on." But she stepped back as the shadow grew bigger, almost touching her. Her final whisper was filled with fear. The war started because of you. Even if you don't know it. Before Evan could speak, the hall lights flickered and a giant armored figure stopped right in front of his cell. Soraya turned away. Fear in her eyes. The real danger had arrived, and Evan realized the truth. Someone wanted him dead. And the only one who tried to warn him was the alien guard, who was supposed to keep him locked inside. The massive armored figure stood in front of Evan's cell like a living wall. The lights flickered above him, making his metal armor shine like a monster rising from the dark. His eyes glowed red, cold, and merciless. This was Commander Drogoth, the prison's most feared enforcer. Soraya stepped aside quickly, lowering her head to hide her fear. Drogoth scanned the cell, then stared at Evan like he was examining a dangerous weapon. "So, the human," Drogoth growled. He walked closer, pressing his huge hand against the bars. The cell vibrated under his strength. Evan stepped back. Drogoth's voice was deep and heavy, like thunder trapped in his chest. "You have caused trouble," he said. "More trouble than you will ever understand." Soraya kept her eyes down, but Evan saw her hands shaking. She knew something she could not say out loud in front of Drogoth. The commander turned to her. "Guard Soraya, you will no longer patrol this wing. You are reassigned." Soraya froze. "Commander, why?" "I have done nothing wrong." Drogoth leaned down until his face was inches from hers. "You look at the human too much," he said. "And that is dangerous." Evan saw fear in Soraya's eyes, but also anger. She clenched her fists. "I follow the rules," she whispered. "Good," Drogoth replied. "Follow them far away from here." He left without another word. Soraya waited until his footsteps were gone. Then she lifted her head, and Evan saw something he had not seen before: pain and anger mixed together. "They fear you," she said. "More than you fear them." Evan blinked. "Why? What have I done?" Soraya looked around to make sure no one was listening. Only then did she step close to the bars. "Evan, years ago, before this war started, there was a peace meeting. Humans and our leaders gathered to talk. You were there." Evan frowned. "I was? I don't remember anything like that." Soraya nodded slowly. "Because it was hidden from you. You did something that shocked the galaxy." Evan's heart pounded. "What did I do?" Soraya's voice dropped to a whisper. "You saved an alien child." Evan blinked. "That's it? I saved a child and now I'm a prisoner?" "You don't understand," she said. "The child you saved was the daughter of an enemy leader. When others saw you take the blow for her, they saw something new. They saw a human protect an alien. Many feared what this meant." Evan felt dizzy. He remembered a faint image, a small alien girl crying, a broken walkway, a dangerous fall. He remembered pushing someone out of the way. But the memory was faint, like a dream. "I didn't know who she was," Evan whispered. "I just acted." "That is what scares them," Soraya said. "Humans act with heart, not calculation. My people do not understand that. Some leaders fear that kind of spirit." Evan sat down slowly. "So they locked me up? For saving a child?" "No," Soraya said. "They locked you up because your actions stopped a battle that was supposed to happen. Some leaders wanted war. They believed your bravery would weaken their plans." Evan felt sick. "So, I ruined their war?" Soraya nodded. "And now different powers fight for control of you. Some want you alive. Some want you dead. And some want you as a symbol." Evan stared at her, stunned. "And you? What do you want?" Soraya looked at him for a long moment. Her voice was soft but strong. "I want you free." Evan felt warmth in his chest. "Why? You hardly know me." Soraya hesitated. Then she said something unexpected. "I was there," she whispered. I saw you save that child. I watched from the shadows. I saw your courage. I saw your kindness. My people saw a threat, but I saw hope. Evan swallowed hard. And now you're risking your life to help me? Soraya nodded. Draga thinks I am weak because I look at you. But he is blind. I look because I remember what you did. A human saved one of us. And now I will save a human. She reached into her uniform and pulled out a small device, a square tool with glowing lines. What is that? Evan asked. A cell disruptor, Soraya said. It will break the energy field for 10 seconds. That is all. Evan's heart sped up. You want me to escape? Soraya nodded. Before they transfer you. You will not survive the transfer. Evan took a deep breath. What about you? Soraya didn't answer at first. Then she smiled sadly. I will follow after you. If I'm still alive. Evan stepped closer to the bars. Soraya, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do, she said. Because you once saved a child. Now I will save a human. She pressed the disruptor into his hand. We escape tomorrow night. Before Evan could thank her. She walked. Evan did not sleep that night. He sat on the floor of his cell, staring at the small device Soraya had given him. The disruptor glowed softly, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. Every time he looked at it, the same thought came to him. She is risking everything for me. The prison halls outside were quiet now. No alarms, no shouting, no footsteps. The silence felt heavy, as if the whole asteroid was holding its breath. Evan kept listening for Soraya's steps, but she never returned. He worried about her more than he worried about himself. Morning arrived in the form of bright blue lights flashing across the ceiling. Guards moved past his cell, talking in low voices. Evan listened carefully. Commander Drogoth is preparing the ship, one guard whispered. The human is being moved tonight, the other replied. He won't survive the journey. Evan's stomach twisted. Soraya was right, the transfer was a death sentence. Hours passed. Food was thrown into his cell. The other prisoners made strange noises, tapping on walls, whispering through vents. They knew something was coming. They could smell tension in the air. Then, finally, soft footsteps approached. She appeared at the end of the hallway, her eyes scanning carefully for other guards. When she reached Evan's cell, he stood up at once. You came back, he said. Of course, she answered softly. I gave you my word. Her eyes rested on the disruptor in his hand. She nodded. Good, you kept it hidden. Evan stepped closer. Soraya, I don't understand why you care so much. You barely know me. Soraya's expression shifted, gentle, but full of something deeper. I know you better than you think, she said. I watched you years ago. I saw how you protected that child. You did not hesitate. You did not think about yourself. You simply moved to save her. Evan rubbed his temples. I barely remember it. Soraya smiled sadly. But I remember it. You risked your life for a child of another species. That moment changed me. I began to question everything I was taught. She stepped closer to the bars. Her voice lowered. My people say humans are selfish, violent, unpredictable, but what I saw was kindness. And I could not forget it. Evan felt a strange warmth growing in his chest. Soraya, thank you. But this is dangerous. You could be executed. Soraya nodded. I know. But I cannot let them kill you. A silence settled between them. Evan reached out and touched the bars. Soraya did the same, her fingers inches from his. They did not touch, but the closeness felt powerful, like a promise neither had spoken. Finally, Soraya broke the silence. Tonight is the escape, she said. At the third shift change. When the lights dim, you must activate the disruptor. Then you will follow me through the maintenance tunnels. Evan nodded slowly. And if the guards catch us? Soraya took a deep breath. Then I will face them. I know the prison better than anyone. I trained as a royal soldier before I became a guard. I can handle them. Evan frowned. You were a royal soldier? Soraya nodded. I disobeyed an order. I refused to kill a human researcher who surrendered. Because of that, I lost my rank. I was sent here to punish me. Evan stared at her in shock. You risked everything twice? For humans, she said softly. For you. Her voice trembled slightly, and Evan felt the truth settle inside him. This was more than duty, more than guilt, more than kindness. Soraya cared for him, deeply. Before either could speak, heavy footsteps echoed through the hall. Soraya stiffened. Drogoth, she whispered. She quickly stepped away, returning to her cold, quiet posture. The commander marched past them without noticing her secret visit. His armor creaked, and his red eyes glowed with hate. Soraya waited until he was far away, then turned back to Evan. Be ready, she whispered. Everything depends on tonight. Night fell slowly. The bright blue lights dimmed into a soft purple. The third shift change approached. Guards yawned, tired from long patrols. Several returned to their quarters. Soraya walked past Evan one last time, her eyes meeting his for a brief second. She did not speak. She did not need to. Her look said everything. Now Evan pressed the disruptor against the bars. The device vibrated in his hand. A bright flash burst inside the cell. The energy field around the bars flickered, cracking. Popping. The cell door weakened. Evan pushed the bars, slid open. He stepped out into the hallway. Soraya appeared from the shadows, her face lit by the dim purple light. She reached out her hand. Come with me, she whispered. Evan took her hand, and together they ran into the dark, beginning the forbidden escape that would change their lives forever. Evan followed Soraya through the long hallway, his heart pounding like a drum. This was the first time he had stepped outside his cell in months. The air felt different, cold, sharp, alive with danger. Soraya held his hand tightly, pulling him into the shadows. Stay close, she whispered. We only have minutes before they notice. The prison was darker than usual. Most lights were in sleep mode, glowing faint purple. Only a few hall lamps flickered with blue sparks. In the distance, guards could be heard talking, walking, and laughing. None of them knew a human was already outside his cell. Soraya led Evan to a metal door with no mark on it. She pressed her palm to the scanner. A soft beep sounded, and the door slid open, revealing a narrow maintenance tunnel. This way, she said quietly. Evan stepped inside. The tunnel was small, full of pipes and wires. The air smelled of dust and old metal. Soraya closed the door behind them and activated a small light on her wrist. It cast a soft glow over the walls. This tunnel is old, she explained. The guards stopped using it years ago. That is why it is safe. They walked quickly. Evan tried to memorize every turn, but the tunnels twisted and curved like a maze. Soraya moved with confidence. She had clearly traveled these paths before, but Evan soon noticed something strange. Soraya, he whispered, how do you know this tunnel so well? She hesitated, then answered honestly. I used these tunnels when I was a royal soldier. I used them to protect important leaders during emergencies. They were escape paths. Escape paths, Evan repeated. And now we're using them to escape from your own people. Soraya gave a sad smile. I know. Life can be cruel. They continued forward until the tunnel opened into a wider space, a round chamber, filled with thick pipes and glowing cables. But before they could cross, a deep growl echoed through the room. Evan froze. Soraya slowly stepped in front of him. Two glowing yellow eyes appeared in the darkness. Evan whispered, What? What is that? Soraya's voice tightened. A prison beast. They use it to hunt prisoners who try to escape. The creature stepped out of the shadows. It was huge, taller than Evan, with 4 thick legs, sharp claws, and skin that looked like armored stone. It growled again, saliva dripping from its jaws. Evan felt his knees weaken. What do we do? Soraya raised her weapon. Run when I say so. She fired a blast of blue energy. The beast roared and charged toward her. The floor shook under its weight. Soraya jumped aside, rolling across the ground. The beast slammed into the wall, breaking pipes and making sparks fly. Evan yelled, "Soraya!" "I'm fine," she shouted. "Go left, now!" Evan sprinted toward a pipe cluster, ducking under metal beams. The beast swung its huge tail, smashing a metal crate into pieces. Soraya fired again, hitting its leg. The beast roared and turned toward her. Evan knew she couldn't dodge forever. He grabbed a loose pipe from the floor. It was heavy, but he raised it above his head. "Hey! Over here!" Evan shouted. The beast turned toward the noise, confused. Soraya took the chance and fired a final shot into its eye. The creature let out a loud, painful cry and collapsed to the ground. Evan dropped the pipe, breathing heavily. "Is it dead?" "Stunned," Soraya replied. "Not for long. We must move." She grabbed Evan's hand again and pulled him through another tunnel door. They continued onward until the metal walls changed color from gray to black, signaling they were close to the prison's core. Suddenly, alarms began to scream. Evan's heart sank. "They know I'm gone." Soraya nodded. The disruptor was detected. "We have only minutes." They ran faster. Warning lights flashed red. Voices echoed through the halls. "Prisoner escape. Human is loose. Seal all gates." Soraya pushed Evan into a stairwell. They descended quickly, racing down several flights. At the bottom was a heavy metal door with a symbol of crossed blades. Evan stopped. "What is this place?" Soraya took a deep breath. "Weapons storage." The door slid open, revealing shelves filled with blasters, stun rods, and armor. Soraya grabbed a small multi-tool weapon and a shield module. Evan looked at the weapons. "Do you think they'll fight us?" "Yes," she said. "They will try to kill us both." She strapped a small device to Evan's wrist. "This is a shield. It will protect you from one blast. Only one. After that, you must survive on your own." Evan nodded slowly. "I'll try." Soraya took a step toward him. Her voice softened. "You are stronger than you think." Before Evan could respond, a loud explosion shook the walls. Soraya's eyes widened. "They found us." She grabbed Evan's arm. "We must reach the exit tunnel. Follow me." They ran toward the final hallway, but standing at the end, blocking the escape, was a tall, dark figure, Commander Drogoth. Commander Drogoth stood in the hallway like a living wall of armor. His red eyes burned in the dim light. Every step he took made the floor vibrate. Evan froze. Soraya pulled him behind her, raising her weapon with both hands. "Stay behind me," she whispered. Drogoth's deep voice filled the narrow corridor. "Guard Soraya. I should have known. You were always too soft." Soraya kept her weapon pointed at him. "Let us pass." "Pass?" Drogoth laughed, the sound echoing like metal breaking. "You dare to talk back to me after betraying your duty? After helping a human escape?" Evan felt Soraya's body tense. Her voice shook slightly, but she stood firm. "I did what I had to." "No," Drogoth said. "You did what your heart wanted. And hearts are weak." He pointed his heavy weapon at Evan. "Step aside. The human dies here." Soraya moved instantly, placing herself completely in front of Evan. Her voice rose, louder than before. "You will not touch him." Drogoth lowered his head, almost surprised. "You defend him with your life? Why? He is nothing. He saved one of us, Soraya replied. He saved a child years ago. And you all turned that act of kindness into fear and hate. Drogoth spat on the ground. Kindness? Humans do nothing out of kindness. They act to control, to influence, to cause chaos. Evan stepped forward. I didn't want anything. I didn't even know that child was important. Drogoth glared at him. And that is why you are dangerous. You act without calculation. Humans do not understand balance. They do not understand order. Soraya hissed back. He was punished for saving a life. How is that order? Drogoth slammed his fist into the wall, cracking the metal. Because his actions stopped the war, our leaders were ready to begin. One human changed everything. Evan swallowed hard. I didn't mean to. Exactly. Drogoth roared. You didn't think. You didn't plan. You simply acted. That one moment made humans appear unpredictable. Too unpredictable to trust. Some leaders saw hope. Others saw a threat. He stepped closer, aiming his weapon at Evan's head. Now the council is divided. Some want you alive to study you. Some want you dead to erase the symbol you created. And some want to use you as a weapon. Evan felt sick. I'm no weapon. No, Drogoth said, but you could inspire others. And that is just as dangerous. Soraya lowered her voice. You knew this from the beginning. That is why you kept Evan here instead of sending him to the council. Drogoth nodded. I wanted to protect my people from the chaos humans bring. If the council gets him, they will fight over him. And war will return. Evan felt anger rising inside him. I never asked for any of this. Soraya raised her weapon again. Commander move. We are leaving. Drogoth shook his head. I will not allow you to destroy our future. A heavy silence filled the hallway. The commander's voice dropped, low and deadly. If you step forward, Soraya, I will have to kill you. Evan's heart stopped. Soraya didn't move. Instead she whispered, I'm not afraid. Drogoth sighed, almost like he regretted what was about to happen. Then so be it. He aimed his weapon. Soraya fired first. A blast of blue energy shot across the hallway. Drogoth blocked it with his forearm armor, sparks flying. He fired back, forcing Soraya to jump aside. Evan pulled her toward the wall as the blast hit the floor where she stood. Drogoth charged forward, faster than Evan expected. Soraya activated her shield module just in time. Drogoth's strike shook the whole corridor. Evan knew Soraya couldn't win alone. He grabbed a metal rod from the floor, something broken during the explosion earlier, and rushed at Drogoth. The commander swung his arm, but Evan ducked and slammed the rod into Drogoth's leg. The commander stumbled, surprised. A human? Fighting me? Soraya blasted him again, hitting his shoulder and knocking him against the wall. Together, they attacked Soraya with her weapon, Evan with raw courage. Drogoth fought hard, but Soraya knew the weak points in his armor. She hit the same spot again and again until the armor cracked. Finally, Drogoth fell to one knee. He looked up at Soraya. You would betray your entire people. For him. Soraya breathed heavily. Yes. Drogoth glared at Evan, then at her. Then you are no longer one of us. Soraya aimed her weapon at him one last time. I know. A blast of energy hit Drogoth's chest. His armor glowed, then went dark. He collapsed, breathing but unable to fight. Evan stared at Soraya, shocked. You saved me. Soraya wiped sweat from her forehead. We saved each other. But the alarms grew louder. Guards were coming. Soraya grabbed Evan's hand again. We must run. Once they find Drogoth, they will send the elite units. We don't have much time. Evan nodded, feeling the weight of what they had done. Together, they sprinted toward the last tunnel. Toward the final chance at freedom, Soraya and Evan ran through the long, bending hallway, their footsteps echoing behind them. The alarms grew louder with every second, filling the prison with red flashing lights. The emergency sirens made the walls vibrate. Evan felt sweat drip down his back. Soraya moved fast, but even she seemed tense now. "They will come with everything," Soraya said breathlessly. "Not normal guards. Not patrol units. They will send the elite hunters." Evan swallowed hard. "Hunters for us?" "For you," she corrected softly. "I am only a traitor. You are something far more dangerous." They turned a corner and reached a metal staircase leading upward. Soraya climbed quickly. Evan followed. His legs burned, but he kept moving. He knew he had no choice. Soraya was risking everything. He could not give up. Halfway up the stairs, the metal floor shook beneath them. A deep boom echoed through the prison. Evan stopped. "What was that?" Soraya grabbed his wrist. "They sealed the lower floors. We must reach the transport bay now." She pushed open a door that led into a large circular room filled with giant fuel pipes and humming machines. The room glowed with orange light, casting long shadows across the floor. But the moment they stepped inside, Soraya froze. Footsteps, not normal ones. Heavy, synchronized ones. Evan felt his throat tighten. "They're already here." Soraya pulled him behind a large machine. "Stay low." A squad of elite hunters walked in tall, armored, carrying advanced weapons. Their helmets glowed bright red. They searched the room carefully, scanning every corner. One of them spoke. "Commander Drogoth is down. The traitor and the human must be captured alive." Another voice replied, "Orders changed. The human can be killed if needed." Evan felt cold fear spread through his chest. Soraya leaned close and whispered, "We must go through the vent above the generator. When I distract them, climb fast." Evan shook his head. "No, I won't leave you here alone." Soraya touched his arm gently. "You must. If they catch both of us, our fight ends here." Her voice trembled slightly. "Trust me. Just this once." Evan stared into her bright blue eyes. In them, he saw fear, courage, and something deeper, something she never said but he already felt. He nodded. Soraya stepped out from behind the machine and fired. A bright blue blast across the room. The hunters turned instantly. "There!" One shouted. Soraya sprinted across the floor, drawing all of their attention. Evan used the moment to climb the machine's side and grab the edge of the vent. His arm shook as he pulled himself up, but he managed to slide inside. Below him, Soraya rolled across the floor, dodging lasers. She moved with incredible speed, every turn, every step perfect, showing the skills she once had as a royal soldier. Evan's chest tightened with fear for her. She fought bravely, but the hunters were many. Then one of them aimed a strong stun beam. The blast hit the ground near Soraya and exploded, throwing her across the room. "Soraya!" Evan whispered, hands trembling. She didn't get up right away. The hunters moved in closer. Evan couldn't breathe. He crawled out of the vent, ready to jump down, even if it meant death. Soraya looked up and saw him. Her eyes widened in fear. "No!" She shouted, "Go!" She forced herself to stand, even though her legs shook. With every bit of strength she had left, she fired another blast, hitting a generator. Sparks exploded, lights flickered, and thick smoke filled the room. The hunters coughed and stumbled. Their sensors overloaded. Soraya yelled again, "Go, Evan!" Now. This time, Evan obeyed. He crawled through the vent as fast as he could. The vent led into another long tunnel. He dropped down into a hallway and waited, breath shaking. A moment later, Soraya appeared, limping slightly but alive. Evan rushed to her. "Are you hurt?" "Only a little," she said, forcing a smile. "I have been hurt many times before." He put her arm over his shoulder to support her. We're almost there. We can make it. Soraya nodded. The transport bay is ahead. If we reach it, we might survive. They moved quickly down a narrow hallway and finally reached a large door marked with glowing symbols. Soraya scanned her badge, and the door opened with a heavy hiss. Inside was a wide hangar filled with small transport ships. The engines hummed quietly. Blue lights glowed from the floor panels. It looked like freedom, but as they ran toward one of the ships, a booming voice echoed from above. You escaped Drogoth. You escaped the hunters. But you, Evan and Soraya stopped in the middle of the transport bay. The air was heavy and cold. Engines hummed softly, and faint steam rose from the metal floor. But all of that felt distant, unimportant, because standing above them on the high platform was Fleet Captain Vaylor, one of the most feared leaders in the Empire, taller than Drogoth, stronger, smarter, a legend in war. Soraya froze. Her hands shook. Captain Vaylor. He shouldn't be here. He commands entire fleets. Why would he come for us? Vaylor's voice thundered across the bay. I came for the human. And for the soldier who betrayed her own people. Evan stepped protectively in front of Soraya. Leave her out of this. I'm the one you want. Vaylor studied him with cold eyes. No human gives commands here. His voice then softened, but made Evan's blood turn cold. You changed everything the day you saved that child. You created hope. And hope is dangerous. Soraya lifted her weapon with trembling hands. We will not surrender. Vaylor tilted his head. You lost your place in the Royal Guard for disobeying orders. Now you betray your own species for a human. Why? Soraya breathed deeply, trying to steady her shaking voice. Because he saved a life. Because he showed a heart stronger than any weapon. Because he does what is right, not what is ordered. Vaylor sighed. Then you give me no choice. He raised his weapon. Soraya reacted instantly. She tackled Evan to the ground as a blast of red energy shot over their heads, burning the metal behind them. Evan coughed and pulled her up. We can't fight him alone, Evan whispered. Soraya nodded. But we can fight together. They ran behind a row of storage crates as Vaylor jumped down from the platform, landing with a heavy thud that shook the bay. Evan whispered, We need to reach that ship. Soraya followed his gaze. A small, fast transport ship sat at the far end of the bay. Its engines were still warm. It was their only chance, but Vaylor noticed. He fired again, forcing them to duck. You will not leave this place alive. Soraya turned to Evan. Listen to me. If I distract him, you run for the ship. No, Evan said firmly. I'm not leaving you. She looked at him, eyes soft, voice trembling. You must survive, even if I don't. Evan grabbed her shoulders. Soraya, I won't go without you. We escape together, or not at all. She stared at him, shocked by the strength in his voice, and in that moment, something changed in her eyes, something deeper. Something like love. Vaylor approached, steps slow and steady. Enough hiding. Soraya squeezed Evan's hand. Then we fight. She jumped from behind the crates and fired at Vaylor. Evan rushed to another angle, picking up a dropped hunter's weapon. The blast felt heavy in his hands, but he aimed and shot at Vaylor's leg. The commander blocked it with a shield, sparks flying. Vaylor growled. A human using our weapons? Insulting. He fired back, cornering Evan. Soraya leaped in front of Evan again, activating her shield module. The blast hit her shield and shattered it into glowing pieces. That was your only shield, Evan whispered. I know, Soraya said. Run! Evan didn't run. He grabbed a fallen metal rod and lunged at Vaylor. The captain struck him, sending him rolling across the floor. Soraya screamed his name. Evan groaned but stood again. Refusing to let Soraya face Vaylor alone, Vaylor aimed at him again, but Soraya suddenly jumped on the captain's back, locking her arm around his neck. "Go, Evan," she yelled. "Start the ship, no!" Evan shouted, eyes burning. "I'm not leaving you." Vaylor threw Soraya off, slamming her into a crate. She cried out in pain. Evan ran to her, lifting her quickly. "Soraya, stay with me." She smiled weakly. "You're a stubborn human. And you're my reason to keep fighting," he said. Vaylor charged toward them. Soraya whispered painfully, "Ship. Now." This time, Evan didn't argue. He lifted her arm over his shoulder and ran with all his strength toward the transport ship. Vaylor fired again, missing them by inches. The blast shook the ground behind them. Evan reached the ship's ramp and pressed the control panel. The doors opened with a hiss. Alarms screamed louder. More guards were coming. He pulled Soraya inside and slammed the door shut. The ship HUMMED.VA reached the door and punched the metal hard, denting it. "Human, you cannot escape the Empire." Evan ran to the cockpit. Soraya crawled beside him, pressing buttons she remembered from training. "Hold the controls steady," she said weakly. Evan gripped the handles. "I'm with you." Together, they lifted the ship from the floor. Vaylor fired at the engines, but the blast only grazed the metal. The ship shook but stayed alive. "Now!" Soraya shouted, "Go!" Evan slammed the throttle forward. The ship blasted out of the hangar, shattering the doorway and shooting into the asteroid's dark sky. Enemy fighters chased them, firing bright lasers. Evan dodged left, then right. Soraya pressed a button. "Warp drive," she whispered. "Activate." Evan hit the switch. A bright light filled the ship. With a loud blast, they jumped to hyperspace. Silence followed. Evan breathed hard. Soraya leaned back, eyes closed, exhausted but alive.